Hello, hello, hello. I'm excited today. Of course, the question is, when am I never excited? I'm always excited. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on our planet. Hello. Like I said already, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are on our planet. My name is Sroda Aglago. Thank you for joining me on Love, Forgive, Live podcast. I haven't done a solo podcast in a while. Excuse me. Yes, my voice is still working itself out. I don't know what it is. Seems like the moment the fall started, my voice went south and I don't have it back. So if you don't mind, you would hear me sipping warm tea. And so when you hear the noise, that will be the reason. Today's topic is very important to me. What else is not? It's about this. Let me just put it out there. How do you know you are evolving into the best version of yourself? How do you know you are evolving into, or you're growing into, the best version of yourself? It's a lot. I realized when I was preparing for this, normally I think I told you guys I don't, to everybody, I don't prepare for the show or for the podcast. I allow it to be organic. I allow it to be a flow. But today I decided to write my points down. Well, here's the thing. When I started writing my points down, I realized I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a half pages of handwritten notes. I went overboard. And that's not all. I realized I could go on forever, but I was like, I need to stop. I don't want to overwhelm everybody by talking too much. For 3 hours, I think everybody will be overwhelmed. So you keep this at 45. Close to an hour. Now, we have to understand one thing. When I mean evolving or growing, I'm not talking about physical growth. I'm talking about your mental, your intellectual, your emotional growth, and your spiritual growth. And of course, it comes with a sense of maturity. And the strange thing is, something occurred to me when I was thinking about this. That sense of maturity, strangely enough, looks childlike. It looks childlike because you begin to recognize the simplest things in life. You begin to become more still in things that just makes you feel good. You begin to recognize the fact that the universe has something to offer you. And you become curious as a child. You become more giggly, smiley, and even more adventurous, if I could use that word. For lack of a better word for me to use, that's the closest thing I could use. People begin to grow and recognizing that honesty is important to them. They begin to see themselves honestly and become aware of their own shortcomings and recognize it as not a bad thing, but rather it is a part of them. It is who they are. It is the uniqueness of who they are. And they become aware of that and embrace it and make an effort to learn more about who they are and learn more about our world, learn more about spirit, learn more about the Creator, learn more about our relationship to the source, our relationship to the universe, to all of this. How are we connected to one another as human beings? This becomes very clear to every individual. And I recognize something. This happens because it's a true knowing that's already been there. And it is so powerful. One thing I'll talk about is this. There are signs. There are signs that you would see or know or recognize about yourself that you are evolving or you are growing into the best version of yourself. Bear with me. It's a lot. About 10 of them. So I'll do my best to make it clear and compact it so that it's not too much. Those of you who want to write this down and then look it over and read it, understand it, and whatever, you may take a pen and paper. Take notes. If you don't, that's okay. We can listen, or you can listen, and bear with me, okay? Number one is that people around you will notice you're different from the person they've known all along. They'll be wondering and looking at you and see something different. They couldn't or they cannot put their hands on it. They cannot describe it or tell you definitively what that is. They will not be able to pinpoint it, but they just know it. They see it, but they can't describe. Some people might even say, you sound different. You speak with a certain level of confidence. That's the other thing. Your confidence changes. You become more sure of yourself without even knowing that you're doing so, but you become more sure of yourself. So that's number one. Number two, you notice that you don't argue with others who don't have the same or who have opposing views of you. You realize that it takes way too much energy and effort to try and understand or change their mind. Actually, you recognize that you cannot change anybody's mind and you cannot control anybody or anything. What you can do is you begin to recognize that, I don't want to waste my energy on that. I would much rather spend that energy on working on me, on working on what I need to do to start slaying my ego. Yes, I said it. I'll repeat number two again. You notice that you don't argue with others who have opposing views from you. Or you don't need to understand. You begin to understand that it's not worth it. The energy you're putting into that, arguing with them, it's not worth it. So you let go. But rather, you recognize that You cannot control anybody. You cannot change anybody's mind. You cannot make anybody understand things the way you do. It's an eye-opener. And that you cannot control anybody. But you can only work on yourself. And guess what? Only you can change your mind about anything or everything. But above all, you would much rather spend all your energy slaying your own ego, because you begin to recognize that your ego gets in the way of your growth. Your ego gets in the way of your growth. So you begin to spend that energy slaying that ego so that you can grow into the being you're meant to be all along. Let me put this straight. The knowing of this being you were meant to be all along was already in you. You just went to sleep. So now that you are aware that you need to slay the ego, in the words of Dr. Wiseman, pride. Slay the pride. And you will notice how much more is open to you for you to learn. Number 3, you become aware of the way you value your peace. Oh, you become aware of the way you value your peace. Oh, peace of mind is precious. You don't want to compromise that for anything or anyone. And you will go to great lengths to protect your peace. You will go through great lengths to protect your peace. And for that reason, you will begin to eliminate or drop friends and family that bring you drama, discourse, chaos, constant argument. You begin to lose those because you realize it's not worth it. It drains you. Number 4, you begin to take things that you do to fill your cup. Things that you do to fill your cup so that you can have more of it. And when you are ready to give something, you can give without feeling depleted. For example, things like self-care. Ooh, that's a big one. I speak to friends and families, and even sometimes clients, and you see individuals who notice, you see what they always say, or hear what they always say. Self-care, they don't do it. And the strange thing is, when you don't do self-care, it hurts you more than anybody around you. So you give and give and give and do and do and do, and you realize your self-care is nowhere near the list. And that becomes a disservice to you and to the world and to everybody around you. So you begin to take your self-care very seriously, or things that you do to fill your cup, because nobody's going to fill it for you, and you cannot take from another person to fill your cup. And like I said, nobody will fill it for you, and you cannot take from another person to fill your cup. You will just keep getting depleted. The best thing, fill your own cup. Do not look for somebody to fill it for you. Fill your own cup. Fill it up. because that's the only way you can be of help to anybody in this world or to your loved ones. Number 5, you notice that people get jealous of you just for being you or recognizing that you are growing into the person that you're supposed to be. You are evolving, and the changes, these positive changes that are taking place in your life will become a problem, unfortunately. And the jealousy will surprise you who it comes from. Sometimes I've heard from a lot of individuals, it comes from their spouses, their core friends, and even family. Do not be surprised when they turn on you, because the jealousy is not really coming from you. Yes, I said it. That jealousy, they believe they are directing at you, even though it's not, but you believe it because they are jealous of you. But truthfully, if you really want to look at the truth, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with their own shortcoming, their own lack. They believe in lack and believe that you cannot evolve to the person you're being. And they believe that they cannot, so they decide you cannot. Because your growth and your evolving challenges what they believe about themselves. So they'll project that on you and say you cannot. So guess what will happen? The jealousy will grow the more you grow. The jealousy expands itself within them and others around them who have the same level of petty thinking and believing in lack. So now that you know that it has nothing to do with you, my question to you is this: what are you going to do now? What do you think now? Are you going to allow yourself, to be held back because somebody's jealous of you? Are you going to go back to the person that you were before you started evolving, before your growth started? That's the question. You will sometimes hear things like this: who does she think she is? Who does he think he is? Brace yourself. You begin to lose them because your growth chart just took off on a whole new level, and they're stuck on level 1 on the surface. They cannot go with you. It's okay. If they were willing to drop you and be jealous of you, they are not willing to go far into the distance with you. They don't have what it takes. It's okay. Let them be. It's where they are. And it's not a judgment. Allow them to be where they are. Because when they stay there, maybe their growth will come at a different time. I'll tell you one thing. When I recognized my growth was happening, I was so confused. With full disclosure here, I was so confused. And I used to believe or think that if I could just explain it to them, they might join me so I don't have to go alone. It's actually an illusion. You cannot. Your growth Your evolving is extremely individualized. You cannot change that. It is what it is. Accept it. You cannot do it together with your mother, brother, sister, spouse, or your children. It's an internal, personal growth that happens for you alone. It's a solo trip. So get used to it. The journey is going to be hard. This journey is not going to be easy. And a lot of the time it's going to be painful because there'll be a lot of obstacles and a lot of things coming at you where you feel like you need to quit. But the strange thing is, once you become aware of this growth and you're on that path, you cannot quit. You try and you realize that you're back into it again. And it comes at everybody's life at a different time. Some people it may happen at 30, some people at 40, some people at 50, some people in their 60s. Now, there might be others that it may happen at 25. I don't know those individuals, but maybe there are. But I know the people in the late 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. It is extremely individualized. None look the same. Sometimes you walk into a room and the growth and the level that you are, you don't have to speak and the jealousy will spew, like seriously. It's because the individuals are not ready. And you may hear comments like, where do you get up being, more dressed up and looking more beautiful than me? Or people come and say you're glowing. And it's funny, you hear that, you be like, wow. I guess was I thinking about you when I was dressing up at home? Even though you weren't. But that's what they assume. And that should tell you something. They're operating out of the ego. An ego will say something that's ridiculous and you'd be like, wow, really? Be mindful of these things. Number 6. You begin to appreciate prayers, meditation, and solitude because your daily routines without these things, you literally feel like there's something missing in your day. It becomes that important for you. And the strange thing is, to do your prayers, meditation, and having your solitude, it doesn't become something difficult. It takes no effort at all for you to do. There's no level of difficulty where you feel like, ooh, I want to do this, but I don't want to do it. There's no argument. There's no way of you struggling to try and make this happen. It's so effortless to follow these routines. And of course, after you're done, you do your little walk or exercise or whatever you need for your body to be healthy. It takes no effort at all. You do it so simply, and you're surprised. You're surprised as to how this could be that simple. When during the time that you were in your younger days, you complained every time you had to go in and work out. You made noise and got angry and complained and said, well, I don't want to, but I have to. Why do I have to do this part? And then you want to skip things. You want to skip days. So you just want to stay in bed. The strangest thing is when you're in this growth, this journey, you don't feel that way at all about prayers, meditation, and your solitude, and even workout. Number 7, you begin to not care about what people say about you. Here's what I will say again. You begin to not care about what people think and say about you. You don't like idle gossip at this point, but people will be doing it about you and saying about you. But the mere fact of you not caring, when people bring it to you, you don't care. You don't even want to know what people are saying about you. It means nothing to you, because guess what? It's really none of your business. What they say about you when you're not there, it's none of your business. And even if they say things about you in your presence, it's still none of your business. Because you're on a path of self-discovery, a path of your own growth, to learning you and grow into the person that you were meant to be all along. And for you to discover your truth in the big picture of who you are before you came here and what purpose you came here with. Now you think, yeah, the idle gossips means nothing. And what people think about you means nothing. Let it rub off. Let it flow down and just bounce off you. And if it tries to land, it'll just slide off you. Because it means nothing to you. Don't take that seriously. It means nothing. And don't engage in gossip. You wouldn't want it, so you will notice that you don't even want to engage in gossip. It means nothing to you. I know for me, I begin to run from gossip. Like literally, if I try to hear someone gossip, I feel uncomfortable. Sometimes I start scratching myself. My neck will start itching in the back of my ears. So I'm like, it feels that uncomfortable. I'll walk away. Or I'll change the subject to make sure, because I do not want to be. And I remember one time I went to an event and grown folks were gossiping about a young lady who wasn't there. And it bothered me so much, I got very defensive on her behalf. I defended her. And then I told them, you have no idea what kind of a life she's had. So before you make a judgment on her and call her names and have a good time laughing at her, you might want to know what battles she's fought and is fighting. And I recall somebody told me, why are you acting and reacting or behaving as though you know this person when you don't even know this person? You've never met her. And of course, they were surprised. I came back swinging and I said, I don't need to know her. As far as she's concerned, or as far as I'm concerned, she's a sister. I don't need to know her. And they looked at me like I was growing horns out of my face. And I said, I will not stand here and listen to you berate her and talk about her this way. As far as I'm concerned, she's a good person. And I don't need you or anyone to tell me otherwise, even though I don't know her. And to my surprise, somebody else came to me and said, why are you getting so offended and wanting to protect someone that you don't even know? And I said, because guess what? If I'm not there, these individuals will do the same thing about me. So being a female and standing there, I recognize a person is another sister, another human being. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as I have breath in me, I will protect her reputation and her name. I don't need to know her. And the person said, all right, I got you. And I walked away. That's how we become. Number 8, you stop entertaining yourself with the news, with these news outlets. I don't even know what they're called out there. I haven't watched the news for so long. And you start recognizing that it doesn't serve you. It drains you. It interferes with your thoughts. It affects your mood. It affects your mental well-being. It affects your emotion. It affects so many things in you that you realize the news is not worth it. It's taking more out of you than you listening. Number 9 of the signs that tells you that you are evolving into the best version of yourself is this. You tend to appreciate the simplest things in life that do not cost money. That is, and I've written a lot, so I'll try not to use all of it because I know you get exhausted. It's like almost like 2 pages of this. Example, the sunrise, sunset, and how the earth smells, how the ground smells after the rain. Watching the waves on the beach. Watching the leaves fall off the trees in the fall, and the leaves changing colors. These types of beauty, simple beauties, become very appreciated by you. You begin to watch the snow fall and just be engrossed in watching its beauty falling down ever so effortlessly. Hearing a child's laughter when he's playing or being tickled, that alone brings you joy and you find it beautiful. Listening to the water run down the creek filled with rocks and just standing there listening to it, these things makes you feel good. Or listening to the birds greeting the morning in anticipation for all the excitement for what the day will bring, or all the promises the day will bring. Watching the ants line up and working and picking up things. And if one ant is out of line, you see another ant come back and stand around it until that ant joins the line. I've seen it one morning. I went for my walk and I came home and I was stretching. And I noticed these ants on the steps. They walked in, they literally move in unison. And as they moved, when one went out of the line, I see one from the front come back to it and stand with it. And then the ant, and it's the one that's gone out of the line, in its confusion, it tries to go in circles and then joins the line. I keep wondering, there must have been a communication from the one that came from the front to the back to let it know, I need you to join our line. You're messing up. We need to be together. Simple pleasures of life. Another thing you become fully aware of is that you're walking through the forest, smelling pine trees, and gulp the entire air. And you take a deep breath in and you smile. And in the morning when the sun is in the sky and you look up and it's beautiful. The sky is clear. You begin to say thank you. Thank you to the universe. Thank you for the Creator for making this beautiful. These are all the signs you see. When you see these things and it makes you feel good, stuff like this makes you understand that one thing. It connects your soul to your Creator, to source energy, to pure spirit, to God. And that brings so much joy to you. You have no time being depressed. You have no time being angry. You have no time stressing over what you don't have. Rather, you begin to become more graceful. You become grateful. Gratitude become an essential part of your day. And you look at others and enjoy and feel them. Then you say, thank you. Gratitude become an essential part of your day. Because you're paying attention to how you're connecting to all there is. Finally, number 10. The last sign is you begin to take an inventory of what does not serve you anymore. That is a relationship, behaviors, habits, and even belief systems that you hold or you've grown up with. You begin to let them go. You make decisions to change it or let them go. Because they no longer serve you. And especially on this beautiful journey of evolving and growing and self-discovery into the best version of you and recognizing your purpose. Now, the next part of the show I'm going to talk about is how do you handle people who are jealous of you or left you during your growth or evolving period. Call it whatever you may. How do you handle it? Knowing what you know now, how would you handle it? Number 1, focus on your own newfound understanding of you and your growth. Spend time knowing you now. It's very important. Spend time knowing the new you now, or this evolved being, or this person that's growing into something more beautiful and stronger and more sure of itself, more sure of him or herself. Excuse me, not it, but him or herself. Spend time with you. Learn you. And get to know you now. Because that's very important. If you cannot know you and learn you and love you, how can you ask others to do so? So take the time to learn that. Number 2, how you deal with the jealousy and the individuals who left you because of your growth. Remember, It is a lonely place. So get used to being alone. Embrace spending the time with you and learn you. It is okay to be alone. It's not scary. It is okay. This is where you find out what you're made out of. This is where you find out you can be happy by yourself. I'll say it again. This is where you find out you can be happy by yourself, and it's okay. You are learning you are enjoying your own company. You are beginning to create beautiful things about yourself, and find out you have some beautiful hidden talents you didn't even know was there. Number 3, begin to fall in love with you. Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Begin to fall in love with you. Start falling in love with you and becoming appreciative of your inner strength and beauty and the gift that you are to this world and what you're here to offer. And then recognize that you are enough. There's no amount of convincing you can get from anybody except to tell yourself and recognize you are enough. And you're here. You're supposed to be here. You're perfect just the way you are. There's nothing wrong with you. It's time to fall in love with the beauty within you and become appreciative of that. Number 4, don't worry about those who left you. They could not handle the light that emanates from you. They could not handle the beauty shining through without you even trying. They could not handle all that because the lens they're looking at you through is messed up. Their lens is broken. Their lens has dirt on it. And that dirt needs to be cleaned by them, not by you. And then the other thing they are telling you, pay attention to this, it's very important. Recognize that they left you and are jealous of you because that is all they can give. They want to stay where you were with them or where you met them 10, 20 years ago, on the surface. They cannot fathom going deeper. They prefer to be on the surface for you because that is all they can give you. That is all of themselves that they can give. They cannot afford, for some reason, they cannot afford to go beyond the surface. And it's okay. Accept them where they were. Without judgment, accept them where they were. Because that's what they can afford. Accept that that's how far they can go. But their jealousy has nothing to do with you, as I said earlier. Number 5. This is where you get real busy. And it's very important. Get real busy defining and finding and defining your purpose. Fine-tuning that and recognizing what it is, because it's going to take time and energy. You don't have the time to give to anybody except for you. Start the discovery. And it will take up a lot of time. But it's very exciting because guess what? It's a great time for you to dive into your own self. And a great way to do this, I have a couple. Sometimes it's writing. Writing in your journal. Journaling is an amazing tool. For some people, it's painting. For some people, is just writing poetry. Others like to just listen to motivational videos to get them thinking. But can I assure you, journaling is a powerful thing. Write your gratitude, 5 gratitudes a day. Either before you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning or in the middle of the day, whatever time that is convenient to you, write it. Become mindful of the things that you lit up on. That when you start talking about it or you hear about it, you literally lit up. You lit up so much that almost everybody around you can see it. Sometimes you don't see it until they tell you. I'll give you an example. Those of you who know me already know that I love kids. And with the job that I do as a mental health counselor, when I work with teens and individuals who have struggled with childhood traumas, and I assist them to recognize their own strength and to give them a voice, or they recognize that they have a voice to release that inner child and address the pain and the situation they went through. When I do it and the growth happens or the healing begins to take place and they recognize their own strength and their own ability to grow, something powerful happens. I literally lit up. I get excited. And so, those of you who don't know, I was involved in an accident 2 years ago and I had a concussion. And I used to get severe migraines. And sometimes a simple thing like just driving from my home to the doctor's office, I would have excruciating pain because the driving alone for an hour or 45 minutes in traffic, seeing the lights, the sun, and getting to work would cause, getting to the doctor's office would cause severe pain, especially I went to the neurologist's office and it was so painful. I had leaned over on my lap and I was holding my head because it was pounding so much. And then they sent the intern in to come and do some examination, and he apologized to me before he started shining the light in my eyes, and that felt like knife going through my head. I was in so much pain. Then they told the doctor that I was literally shaking because the pain was so bad. And then the doctor came to talk to me, and then he asked me what my level of pain was. Usually the pain tolerance, they would tell them a number from 1 to 10, 10 being the worst. And I told him I was at 8 or 9. And he was like, "Oh, that's really bad." And I was like, "Yeah." And at this point, I had sensitivity to light. I had sensitivity to sound and touch. So everything was very painful to me. And so the doctor told me to sit on a chair. So I changed the position. Before I was sitting on those little examination bed. So I stood up from there and I sat on a chair. Then he asked me what I do for a living. And then I was wondering why he was asking. He already knew, but he asked me. Then he goes, "What is the best part of what you do and why did you choose this? And I told him, and the strangest thing is, as I was telling him, excuse me, within 15 to 20 minutes of conversation, something, to me, I call it a miraculous thing, happened. I was smiling. My shoulders dropped. I wasn't so tense. My neck was comfortable. My body was speaking a different language to the doctor. So he smiled and he said, "How's your headache now?" And I looked at him and I thought, wait, what? My headache is like barely there. It's maybe a 1 or 2. And he said, "This is why I do what I do." And I was like, "What do you mean?" Then he said, "I practice medicine." Or what did he put it? I'm trying to figure out the word he used. He said, "I do my job as a neurologist. I got into this because I wanted to help people and allow them to their brain to function better. And you exhibited that for me, and you made me very excited." And this doctor is in his 70s. And he was smiling. He was happy. And I was happy. And the strange thing is, the entire room, the mood in the room changed. Then he said, "Schroeder, you lit up." And I knew that was a passion of yours. I knew that was truly your purpose, because your entire body became filled with light and joy. And I wanted to be a part of this. And the more I talked to you, I could see the change happen. And honestly, if I hadn't been the one this was happening to, I'll be like, how could this be? The headache was that bad. This is why you have to spend your time and energy honing in on your purpose, defining it, recognizing it, and going for it. Brothers and sisters, we have no time to waste on pettiness, on nonsense, on things that do not fill us. To discover your purpose takes time and energy. And when you are evolving, that's the only way you can figure it out. Without that, you cannot. Let me explain this to you. The more time we waste on ego defining us, ego driving us, ego taking us to a path that does not fulfill anything that helps humanity, your time here will be wasted. Do what it takes. Allow yourself to be able to go through this growth. Avail yourself to the learning. Avail yourself to the peace. Avail yourself to the joy and the knowing you already have within you. We cannot run from this. Your purpose is encoded within you. Nobody else can discover it for you but you. You can go outside of yourself and ask the entire world. Nobody will be able to tell you because it was embedded in you. The Creator put it in you. You must discover that. You're the only one that has the tool to open that, to unleash it. Take the time. Do not let pride or ego deprive you of this joy, deprive you of this truth within you. Your purpose is that powerful. Your purpose is that important. You were created specifically for that. Nobody can take that away. Forgive me if I sound preachy, but I do get very passionate about this topic. I am grateful for your time spent with me. And one thing I'll say is this. Take the time. If you need to listen to this again, listen to it again. Listen to it a little bit, take notes, walk away. Come back, take more notes, walk away. If it takes you a whole week to listen to this, so be it. We'll be back again next week. Thank you for joining me. Once again, my name is Sroda Aglago. Excuse me. I'd love to hear from you here on Love, Forgive, Live podcast. Those of you who want to write to me or get in contact with me, the email address is LUV, 4, give, GIVE, live, LIVE, at gmail.com. Once again, love, LUV, 4, give, GIVE, live, LIVE, at gmail.com. Thank you for joining me again. Have an amazing week, everybody. And don't forget, you have a lot to offer. Enjoy it. I love you all. Have an amazing week. And guess what? I started a podcast with my brother, Conroy Obe Jiwanu, and it's called CREE. KCREE, standing for knowledge, K stands for knowledge, C stands for courage, R for resilience, E for elevate, and the last E for educate. We are mentors. We are mentors for our young people to allow them to learn how to manage their emotions and grow into a person that they're meant to be. So we do this in order to give them the tools they need to manage their emotions, because there's a lot coming at them. Because there's so much coming at them, we are doing what we can, the little bit that we can, to help. If you need to contact us and learn more about us, when you go on Facebook, type the letters, it's all capital letters, KCREE, all in caps letters, and you'll be able to see us. And it's a youth empowerment group. Thank you again for joining me. Have an amazing week. I love you all, and take the time to get to know you better. Bye.